Hello class 10th. Today we are going to start with new chapter 7, the national movement. Today's topic is the First World War and the national movement and the Lucknow Pact 1916. We will discuss the following points. So the objectives of today's topic are India and the First World War, effects of the First World War on the national movement, circumstances leading to the Lucknow Pact, main features of the Lucknow Pact, significance and impact of the Lucknow Pact. Now we will discuss the following key terms. Number 1, Swaraj. It means self-government. Number 2, seditious meeting. It means it was an act of the Parliament of United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland which made it illegal to hold a meeting of more than 50 people. Number 3, assertive nationalist means a section of the Congress which was more radical in their demands. Number 4, imperialist powers. They conquered territory to add it to their empire. Chapter 7, the national movement during the First World War. The First World War and the national movement. The First World War lasted from 1914 to 1918. It was a war chiefly between two groups of hostile nations. On the one side there were Britain, France, Italy and Russia, etc., who were known as the Allied powers. On the other side there were Germany, Austria, Hungary, Turkey, etc., who were called the Axis powers. The First World War from 1914 to 1918 was a war between two groups. On the one side there were Britain, France, Italy, Russia, who were known as the Allied powers, and on the other hand there were Germany, Austria, Hungary, Turkey, etc., who were known as the Axis powers. India and the First World War. The chief cause of this war was the policy of the imperialist powers to expand their empires. There was a race among the imperialist powers to acquire more and more colonies, which led to a conflict among the various imperialist powers. India was then a colony of England. As such, India too was thrown into the fire of war in order to safeguard the British interests. The nationalist leaders resented, means feel bitterness, this step of the British government and held demonstrations against it. They were opposed to the British decisions of using the Indian soldiers as fodder for war cannons without even caring to assess the public opinion. On the other hand, early nationalists followed a conciliatory, means appeasing, policy, hoping that the British government would grant India Swaraj as soon as the war would end in its favour. They had, however, forgotten that the British were fighting the First World War to protect their colonies and not to relinquish, means give up them. The First World War caused due to imperialist power policy of expansion. There was a race among the imperialist powers to acquire more and more colonies, which caused a conflict between the various imperialist powers. At that time, India was a colony of England and India had to join the war to safeguard British interests. The nationalist leaders did not like this step of the Britishers and also opposed the Britishers' decision of using the Indian soldiers in war. On the other hand, early nationalists hoped that the British government would grant India Swaraj after the war, so they followed a appeasing policy. They had forgotten that the Britishers were fighting the First World War just for their own interest, not for them. Effects of the First World War on the national movement. Nationalist feelings in India grew stronger because of the outbreak of the First World War. In 1915-16, two Home Rule Leagues were started in India. One of them was led by Lokmanya Tilak while the other was led by Annie Besant and S. Subramanya Iyer. The feelings of nationalism and the demand for Swaraj grew stronger. Annie Besant was imprisoned and the government let loose repression, means something by force. The nationalists were tortured, means ill-treated, and sentenced for various terms. In 1916, both the groups of the Congress were reunited, means came together, and even the Congress and the Muslim League shared a common platform at Lucknow, pledging, means commitment, themselves to work together to achieve a common goal. The revolutionaries were also active for a short period. The Ghadar Party in America had an echo, means replica, of its activities in India as well. In 1918, the British government announced constitutional concessions under the Montague-Chelmsford reforms so as to please the nationalist leaders, but no substantial reforms were introduced after the war. It was the time when Gandhiji stepped into the political arena. With the outbreak of the First World War, the nationalist feelings grew much stronger in India. Two Home Rule Leagues were started in India in 1915-16. One was led by Lokmanya Tilak and the other was led by Annie Besant and S. Subramanya Iyer. The primary objective of the Home Rule movement was to achieve self-government within the British Empire through the use of constitutional means. The feeling of nationalism and demand for Swaraj grew stronger. The nationalists were ill-treated and sent to jail many times. In 1916, early nationalists and assertive nationalists reunited and also shared a common platform at Lucknow with Muslim League. This time, the revolutionaries were also active for a short period. The Ghadar Party in America had an replica of its activities in India as well. In 1918, the British government announced some constitutional concessions to please the nationalist leaders under the Montague-Chelmsford, in which the British Indian polity to introduce the diarchy, that is rule of two, which means executive, councillors and popular ministers. But no such reforms were introduced after the war, and it was that time when Gandhiji came into the political area. The First World War also caused unprecedented, means unusual, price rise. Hence, to appease the Indian people and to support the economic structure, the English had to promote some industries so as to check the rising unemployment and poverty. The First World War caused unusual price high. So to check the rising unemployment and poverty, the Britishers had promoted some industries. This way, they could also appease the Indian people. The Lucknow Pact 1916. Circumstances leading to the Lucknow Pact. Number 1. International events. England was fighting against Turkey in the First World War. This caused resentment among the Muslims as they felt that the British were anti-Muslim. This change in attitude led the Muslims to support the Congress in the freedom struggle. Lucknow Pact 1916. The period during the First World War was of intense nationalist political activity. The events during the war and the prevalent sentiments were responsible for the signing of the Lucknow Pact between the Congress and the Muslim League. Circumstances leading to the Lucknow Pact. Number 1. International events. During 1912 and 1913, Turkey's Ottoman Empire had to fight the Balkan powers. The British policy during the Balkan Wars was not sympathetic to Turkey. The Sultan of Turkey was regarded as the religious head of Muslims. Moreover, all the Muslims' holy places were situated within the Turkish Empire. In the First World War, Britain was fighting against Turkey. This caused a wave of Khilafat sentiments among the Muslims. They felt that Britishers were against Muslims. This change in attitude led the Muslims to support the Congress in the freedom struggle. Number 2. National events. The partition of Bengal spread of nationalist ideas among the Muslims by nationalists. Muslims like Abdul Kalam Azad and Ali brothers, Tilak's release from jail in 1914 and the arrest of some Muslim leaders under the Seditious Meetings Act brought the Muslim League and the Congress closer. There were important national events that changed the attitude of the Muslim League. Firstly, the partition of Bengal was cancelled. Secondly, the nationalist Muslims like Abdul Kalam Azad and the Ali brothers Maulana Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali made use of this opportunity to spread nationalist ideas among the Muslims. Thirdly, Tilak was released from jail in 1914 after 6 years. Finally, under the Seditious Meeting Act, some prominent Muslim leaders were arrested. This brought the Muslim League and the Congress closer. Change in the objectives of the Muslims. Though the League had supported the British government in 1913, it changed its objectives to a system of self-government under the aegis means protection of the British Crown. The unity of interest renewed cooperation between the League and the Congress. Changes in the objectives of the Muslims. In the beginning, the League had supported the British government as one of its objectives. In 1913, the League had amended its constitution to include a system of self-government under the aegis of the British Crown as the ideal of the Muslim League. Therefore, it agreed with the Congress to have a political goal for India. The unity of interest and objectives opened the doors of renewed cooperation between the Congress and the Muslim League. Compromise between the two factions of the Congress. Mrs. Annie Besant and Tilak played a significant role in bringing the two factions together. Tilak rejoined the Congress in 1916 and played a major role in resolving differences between the Congress and the League. A compromise between the two factions of the Congress. Mrs. Annie Besant and Tilak tried to reunite the two wings of the Congress, the early nationalist and the assertive nationalist. Tilak rejoined the Congress in 1916 and played a major role in resolving differences between the Congress and the League. At the same time, the Muslim League was annoyed by Britain's hostile attitudes towards Turkey, so it turned it to the Congress. As a result, a pact was signed between the Congress and the League in 1916 at Lucknow. It is known as the Lucknow Pact. At the same time, the Muslim League was against the Britishers, their aggressive attitude towards Turkey, so the prevalent sentiments were responsible for signing of the Lucknow Pact between the Congress and the Muslim League. Main features of the Lucknow Pact. Some of the main features of the Lucknow Pact were as follows. Number 1. The Council of the Secretary of State for India shall be abolished and he shall have same position in regard to the Government of India as he does in relation to the government of self-governing colonies like Canada. Main features of the Lucknow Pact. Number 1. The Indian Council of the Secretary of State operating from England should be abolished. The Secretary of State for India was to be assisted by two under-secretaries, of whom one should be an Indian. Number 2. One half of the members of the Governor General's Executive Council shall be Indians elected by the elected members of the Imperial Legislative Council. Half of the members of the Viceroy's Executive Council were to be Indians elected by the elected members of the Imperial Legislative Council. Number 3. The Imperial Legislative Council shall have 150 members. 4/5 members of the Imperial Legislative Council shall be elected but one-third of these shall be Muslims elected on the principle of separate electorates. The Imperial Legislative Council shall have 150 members. Of these, 4/5 were to be elected and 1/5 nominated. One-third of the elected members were to be Muslims. Number 4. Except in military and foreign affairs, the Imperial Legislative Council shall have full control on the Government of India. Defense, foreign affairs and political relations of India, that is declaration of war or signing of peace treaties, were excluded from the control of the imperial legislature. The Government of India shall not ordinarily interfere in the local affairs of the provinces. Provinces should be autonomous in their respective spheres. The imperial government could only have a general right of supervision of the provinces but not to interfere in their local affairs. Number 6. 4/5 members of the provincial legislative councils shall be directly elected by the people on a broad franchise, means authorization, but the Muslim members, as mutually agreed province by province, shall be elected by separate Muslim electorates. 4/5 of the members of the provincial legislatures were to be directly elected and 1/5 to be nominated. The number of members in the provinces was laid down in the scheme. The number of Muslim members was laid down for each province. They were to be elected through separate electorates. The Provincial Legislative Council shall have full control over the provincial government. The provincial government would fully controlled by the Provincial Legislative Council. Number 8. No legislative council shall proceed with a bill or resolution if 3/4 members of any community are opposed to it on the ground that it adversely affects its interest. The pact also demanded that no bill related to a community should be passed if the bill is opposed by 3/4 of the members of that community in the Legislative Council. Executive officers in India shall have no judicial powers. No judicial powers would be given to executive officers in India. The judiciary in every province shall be placed under the highest court of the province. The members of the judiciary in every province were to be placed under the control of the highest court of that province. Significance and impact of the Lucknow Pact. The Lucknow Pact was a marvelous step in achieving Hindu-Muslim unity. Tilak, who played an important role in it, had realized that the success of the national movement depended on Hindu-Muslim unity. The assertive radical nationalist alone would be less effective than a united national organization. The unity between the assertive radical nationalist, the early nationalist and the Muslim League could now impress upon the government the urgency of their demands. In the past, whenever one group opposed the British government, the other tried to pull its legs while the third would come out openly in support of the British. Now the government had no choice but to bow down before the joint demands of the three parties. Significance and impact of the Lucknow Pact. The Lucknow Pact was an amazing step in achieving Hindu-Muslim unity. Both the communities agreed to compromise in some areas for the common good. Tilak also believed that the success of the national movement depended on Hindu-Muslim unity. The unity between the Congress and the League and between the early nationalists and the assertive nationalists became a threat to the British government of India. Now the government had no choice but to bow down before the joint demands of the three parties. The government was also forced to adopt a policy of appeasement, means satisfaction, towards the nationalists instead of relying on the forces of repression. It laid down the British policy in the Declaration of August 20th, 1917, when it was declared that the British policy was the full development of self-governing institutions as an integral part of the British Empire. The Montague-Chelmsford reforms were announced in July 1918 to fulfill this aim. As the First World War continued, the leaders of the Congress and the League impressed upon the British government that their demands for constitutional reforms should not be rejected if they wished Indians to be loyal to the British. The government therefore felt it necessary to pacify the Indians by the Declaration of August 20th, 1917, which promised a policy of gradual development of self-government institutions in India. The Montague-Chelmsford reforms were announced in July 1918 to fulfill this aim. The Lucknow session and signing of the Lucknow Pact are also held for bringing about unity between the assertive, radical nationalist and the early nationalist. After the Surat session of 1907, both the wings of the Congress were pursuing, means following, different paths. But in 1916, they come together, and as a result, the Congress was strengthened. The Congress President of the Lucknow session of 1916, Honorable Ambika Charan Majumdar, rightly remarked, if the United Congress was buried at Surat, it is reborn at Lucknow in the garden of Wajid Ali Shah. After nearly 10 years of painful separation and wandering through the wilderness of misunderstanding, the brothers had at last met brothers. The Lucknow session and the signing of the Lucknow Pact brought about unity between the assertive nationalist and the early nationalist. After the Surat session of 1907, both wings of the Congress were moving in different directions. They came together in 1916, and as a result, the Congress was strengthened. The Congress President of the Lucknow session of 1916, Ambika Charan Majumdar, said that if the United Congress was hid at Surat, then it is recovered at Lucknow in the garden of Wajid Ali Shah. After 10 years of separation, at last two wings of Congress met. Impact: achieved Hindu-Muslim unity. The joint scheme symbolized Hindu-Muslim unity. Both the communities agreed to compromise in some areas for the common good. As a result of this pact, the Hindus and the Muslims worked together from 1916 to 1922. Government forced to accept policy of appeasement towards nationalists. The unity between the Congress and the League and between the early nationalists and the assertive nationalists became a threat to the British government of India. The government had no excuse for delaying political or constitutional reforms. Unity between the two groups of the Congress. The signing of the Lucknow Pact brought about unity between the assertive nationalists and the early nationalists. They came together in 1916, and as a result, the Congress was strengthened. Self-governing institutions developed. The government therefore felt it necessary to pacify the Indians by the Declaration of August 20th, 1917, which promised a policy of gradual development of self-government institutions in India. Thank you.